Yo, today we received more confirmation that President Trump is about to create a Bitcoin strategic reserve in 3 days' time. We all know about the number of executive orders that were going to be set into motion, but there is this breaking news article coming out of the New York Times and also Bloomberg confirming what we have been theorizing over these last couple of weeks, that Trump is really serious about this strategic Bitcoin reserve. And I'm telling you guys, and I've been saying this for many weeks now, if we get a strategic Bitcoin reserve in the United States in 2025, I would not be surprised at all if we saw $500,000 or $1 million Bitcoin, because that's exactly when we see massive nation state FOMO set in. Also, that's just on the federal level. On the state level, Dennis Porter has really been moving this initiative forward, where many states, including the state of Texas, the state of Pennsylvania, the state of Ohio, there was rumblings that the state of Florida is looking into it as well, that they were also all looking into a strategic Bitcoin reserve. And that's only the United States. This is a worldwide phenomenon. You have politicians coming out of Brazil. You have politicians coming out of Germany, even Russia, talking about strategic Bitcoin reserves. So it looks like, and the poly market odds have gone on significantly since the drop of these two articles. So, I mean, like in 3 days' time, in 3 days, January 20th, we're going to see potentially Ross Ulbricht being freed and Bitcoin taking, growing up, entering a whole new level, which is extremely exciting from the number go up perspective. We also have a jam-packed show for you guys. We have special guests. We have James from Stampseed. We have the legendary Gary Leland from BitBlockBoom, my legendary co-host Optimus Fields, and of course, the legendary James from Stampseed. I repeated James twice, but that's okay. All right, everybody, let's go straight into the article. What am I talking about? Guys, it's so funny because like 2 or 3 days ago, like 2 or 3 months ago, the New York Times was not our friend. And now the New York Times is dropping articles like this one. The headline for our audio listeners is, quote, a first day Trump order, a federal stockpile of Bitcoin. It goes on to say a pair of 50-page policy proposals laying out the plan in detail, discussions about the specifics with President-elect Donald J. Trump and his advisors, and talks with cabinet nominees about how to pay for it. On the eve of Mr. Trump's inauguration, the cryptocurrency industry is pushing his incoming administration to execute an audacious plan that would have seemed unimaginable just a year ago, a government program to buy and hold billions of dollars in Bitcoin. As he campaigned last summer, Mr. Trump vowed to create a, quote, federal Bitcoin stockpile that would serve as a permanent national asset to benefit all Americans. Bitcoin enthusiasts hailed the idea as potentially transformative, claiming that it would help reduce the national debt. Mr. Trump could still abandon the plan and the details are under debate, but industry executives have spent weeks lobbying to shape the proposal, raising hopes that Mr. Trump might act soon after taking office. Also, at Michael Saylor's 100K party live stream, David Bailey, the owner of Bitcoin Magazine, actually had some things to say regarding Trump owning Bitcoin.
You know, Trump told me before all of this went down that, you know, he owns a significant amount of Bitcoin. I'm not going to disclose the number that he told me, but, you know, he doesn't manage his money himself directly, but that he had a significant position, even at that time, and the price of Bitcoin's gone up a lot since. So, you know, you're right. It's all about creating alignment. It's all about creating alignment. And, you know, Bitcoin changes the dynamic where, you know, what's good for Bitcoin is good for all of us. And what's good for Bitcoin is the fundamental ideas of freedom. So it's like.
Also, check out this article from Bloomberg. Trump plans to designate cryptocurrency as a national priority. Executive order expected to create a crypto Adversary? No, that's not
Advisory.
Advisory. Thank you, Opti. This is why Opti's here, and I couldn't do the show by myself. Council. Trump allies are discussing stopping federal crypto yeah, that's weird. That said stopping. Anyways, I'm going to read a little bit from the article. President-elect Donald Trump is planning to release an executive order elevating crypto as a policy priority and giving industry insiders a voice within his administration, according to people familiar with the plan. The order is expected to name crypto as a national imperative or priority, strategic wording intended to guide government agencies to work with the industry, according to people familiar with the matter. It is also slated to create a crypto advisory council to advocate for the industry's policy priorities, said the people who requested anonymity to discuss an executive order that is not yet public. Now, what's quite interesting, again, is the releases of these articles come out around the same time, right on the verge of Trump being inaugurated. On the same date, the New York Times article was released and the Bloomberg article was released. And if we are to believe David Bailey, and I don't see why we are not believing him, he did get Trump to show up in the Nashville conference. He's saying that in private conversation, he's confirmed that Bitcoin, that Trump owns a lot of Bitcoin. So now we have Bitcoin and crypto allies going into the administration. It seems like everything is lining up. Now, Mara, one of the largest publicly traded Bitcoin mining pools, did this, right? And they were also caught at a fundraiser for Trump during the election. They were seen, Mara executives were seen at Mar-a-Lago, and they dedicated a block of which they found, and they made it essentially a picture of Trump on 47, right? On block 879613, if you check it out on mempool.space, you'll see a picture of Trump that they organized the blocks to make it seem so. So it seems like a lot of industry insiders are excited, and also Michael Saylor. Michael Saylor was seen January 2nd, 2025. At Mar-a-Lago, Trump's what people called the Winter White House in Palm Beach, and Saylor says Bitcoin is on the menu at Mar-a-Lago. And if you take a look at the betting market odds, we had a little bit of a spike yesterday, reached an all-time high of 44, not an all-time high, but it reached a high of 44% probability. It's back down to 38% probability. But essentially the question is, will Trump create Bitcoin reserve in first 100 days? So, I mean, this is absolutely massive. Those two new articles from Bloomberg, those two, the article from Bloomberg, the article from New York Times, really confirming that Trump is serious about, obviously changing the regulatory environment for the Bitcoin industry, but it looks like he's serious about creating this strategic Bitcoin reserve, which of course is going to be extremely bullish from a price perspective. Anyways, I want to go around the horn. James, what are your thoughts? And then we'll move on to Gary and then Opti.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, obviously it's going to be my thoughts, 2025 is going to be a great year for Bitcoin, mainly because of the strategic Bitcoin reserve. And I'm just, first 100 days, I'm anticipating when it's going to happen. Like I was talking with a couple of people yesterday and we're like, is it going to happen day one? Or I don't know. I mean, I doubt it. I certainly hope not. I need some time to stack more sats, cheap sats before that happens. But, it's something that he promised. He's been promising for a while now, and I'm just expecting it to happen. But I don't think much one way or the other. If it happens, great. I feel like Bitcoin's inevitable regardless. If it doesn't happen, I won't be too upset. Like I said, I have more time to stack those sats up. So regardless, keep your Bitcoin safe throughout either scenario, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens Monday, if anything, and then the days after that.
Absolutely, it's going to be an interesting year. First 100 days of the Trump administration. Anyways, Gary, you've been in Bitcoin for quite a long time. We have come a very, very long way as an industry, and also one of the things I'm very excited about, which I think should happen in the next 10 days or so, is the freedom of Ross Ulbricht, which I think is a huge deal. Gary, what's your take?
Well, first of all, I do want to say if you were in Nashville and you saw Trump speak, it just was funny the way he said it. Remember when he said, the first rule of Bitcoin, you don't sell your Bitcoin. Someone didn't tell him the second rule. You don't tell people how much Bitcoin you have. Somebody needs to tell him that. Now, I think, from what I've seen, and I'm not an expert by any means, but it looks like he's got like 100 executive decisions he's going to do, or executive things he's going to do the first day. If that's true, I would think that is the time that he would free Ross, because there's going to be so much going on. No one's going to be paying attention to that and giving him static about that. So get that out of the way. So I'm thinking he's going to free Ross first day. And I think he's going to start the Bitcoin reserve on the first day. There's going to be, with 100 executive things, that's the most any president's done. There's going to be so many things for people to complain about that they don't like, that it's going to be nothing to throw those in there. So I think we're going to have, I think those odds look pretty off to me, because like I said, I think it'd be a first day, and I think Ross will be free first day.
It's incredibly exciting. I agree. I once I saw those two articles, and something that I've learned making media for this long is that it's not a coincidence that a Bloomberg article and a New York Times article dropped the same time, the same day, basically saying roughly the same thing. That's not a coincidence. Somebody is clearly trying to send a message. And again, this is very, very bullish for number go up. Opti, what is your take here, man? I mean, like, we've come a long way, man. 6 months ago, we were talking about moving to El Salvador. The self-custody was under attack. The industry was under attack with Operation Chokepoint 2.0. Bitcoin mining was under attack. And look, it seems like, within 6 to 9 months, it seems like the U.S. is going to go from hostile to Bitcoin to pro Bitcoin. And one of the things that I'm going to keep saying is elections have consequences. Opti, what's your take?
Yeah, well, I think on that last point, just kind of considering where we were at the beginning of 2024 and where we are in 2025, the conversation has gone such a long way. And, part of it is extremely bullish. Obviously, it's extremely bullish to have this national/global conversation around Bitcoin and SBR, et cetera, or even taking Bitcoin seriously. And so on that front, it really feels like that meme of, what did he say? Like, you're going to win so hard, you're going to get tired of winning or whatever. In Bitcoin, it always feels like you're winning. And I tweeted earlier, kind of joking, I have a superpower of interpreting all new information as bullish for Bitcoin. So it's all bullish for Bitcoin. And it really does seem like the dominoes are falling. And on that same front, I think, it is very important to stay cautious and, a game theory this out, look for the attack vectors and all that. It's not enough to just be bullish constantly. It's also to kind of keep your head on a swivel. And I think it's important for Bitcoiners to stay skeptical and low-key paranoid on this front. But there was something in that article that we didn't fully get, actually the first one, the New York Times article. And we've been hearing these rumors. I think all week we've kind of been covering this, a very similar news story. But I think the big kahuna in that article is this quote here. So this is somewhere down the New York Times article, and it goes, asked to comment for this article, Brian Hughes, a spokesman for Mr. Trump's transition team, said the president-elect will, quote, deliver on his promise to encourage American leadership in crypto and other emerging technologies. So others is probably AI, et cetera. But I think this is kind of the trend we've been seeing for the last couple of weeks, that promises made will be promises kept. And so I know a lot of Bitcoiners are skeptic on Trump. He's a politician, he's a grifter, et cetera, et cetera. But just the fact they're talking about all this stuff, I think it's super, super bullish. And of course, we'll see on Monday, or maybe it's, Tuesday. I was kind of trolling with Nico earlier. Which one's day one? Is it on inauguration day, or is it the following day? Because if it's the following day, the world's going to fundamentally change on January 21st, which is, a wink from the simulation. Is it a coincidence? I don't know, but it would be pretty glorious if a lot of these executive orders came through on the 21st. I'm not sure if inauguration day is day 0 and the 21st is day 1, but Nico was kind of telling me day one is inauguration day. So we'll see what these executive orders do, or rather are, and if they get pushed through. But the big three, kind of what Gary was saying, that I think are kind of on the table, considering all the recent news and leaks we've been seeing, is obviously free Ross day one. He's been saying that for the last 6 months. Two, something in regards to the SBR happening, and with this New York Times article and the Bloomberg confirmation, it seems like maybe that's going to get started, and we'll figure out what's going on with all of the seized Bitcoin, whether that's just going to get converted into a strategic Bitcoin stockpile. Oh yeah, remember, it's a strategic Bitcoin stockpile here. It's not a strategic Bitcoin reserve. But third is the repealing SAB 121. So if these are the executive orders that we see on day one, I mean, I don't know how you could be bearish on Trump right now. Like, to me, that's all bullish stuff playing out in our favor. And I think all the people that are still anti-Trump, I think you're going to have to bend the knee on this one, boys. I think this is a huge win for Bitcoin. Sorry, guys. I don't make the rules here, but this all sounds extremely bullish for us.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
I think Gary just said huge.
Oh, yeah, Gary said huge.
Huge.
All right, huge. Guys, if you guys are enjoying the show so far, and it seems like you are, because we're about to break 2,000 live viewers across all platforms, almost 600 live viewers on YouTube, already at 120 likes. Help us break 200 likes within the first half hour of the show. I mean, that's too bearish. 250 likes. So if you guys are enjoying the show so far, make sure to smash that like button. Really, really helps with the algos. All right, everybody, before we start the show, I do want to give a shout out to our lead sponsor, BitcoinWell.com. BitcoinWell.com is the best place to build your automatic self-custody Bitcoin stack. Enable your independence with the fastest and safest way to buy Bitcoin on-chain or via the Lightning Network in Canada and the USA. To get started, you put in your email address, and it takes 2 to 5 minutes to get verified, and bada bing, bada boom, you're ready to buy Bitcoin. What makes Bitcoin Well different, obviously it's a Bitcoin-only exchange, but it's completely non-custodial, meaning as soon as you buy Bitcoin on Bitcoin Well and the funds clear, it goes straight to your self-custody Bitcoin wallet address. Also, if you're a higher net worth individual and you're looking to buy over $50,000 worth of Bitcoin or more, check out their Bitcoin Well Infinite product. It's a white glove service tailored for individuals that are tired of dealing with finicky UI or these support emails that take forever to get back to you. If you want an actual human being that you can call every time you want to buy or sell Bitcoin, Bitcoin Well Infinite is for you. So to get started, go to bitcoinwell.com/OTC. Also, check out the Bitcoin Wishing Well contest. Every time you buy Bitcoin on Bitcoin Well, you earn Bitcoin Well points, and you could redeem those points towards the Bitcoin Wishing Well contest, which we're doing live for you guys right now. Get your Lightning wallets ready. First person to scan the QR code has won 210 sats. If you use promo code simplybtc, again, simplybtc, to sign up to bitcoinwell.com today, you get 3 tosses into the Wishing Well. Every time you toss a coin into the Wishing Well, you win, and you have an opportunity to win up to 1 million Satoshis. All right, everybody, let's get to the numbers. We have lots to talk about. I want to tell you guys about our sponsor, Stampseed. Is your Bitcoin in cold storage really secure? Are your seed words really secure? Stampseed's do-it-yourself kit has everything you'll need to hammer your seed words into commercial-grade titanium plates instead of writing them down on paper. Don't do that. Paper sucks. You want to literally stamp your seed into this plate of titanium. Your words are actually stamped into the metal plate with this hammer. So once your words are in, they aren't going anywhere. No risk of the plate breaking apart and your pieces falling everywhere. Titanium stamp seeds will survive nearly triple the heat produced by a house fire. They are also crush-proof, waterproof, non-corrosive, and most importantly, because this is generational wealth, time-proof. All things that paper is not, allowing you to hodl your Bitcoin for the long haul. I mean, here is the plate that they crushed. They put in water, they put a blowtorch to it, and as you can see, the words have survived. Stamp your seed on Stampseed. And you can use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on their store. All right, everybody. Scan the QR code on your screen. It'll take you directly to the Stampseed website. Use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on the stampseed.com store. At the time of recording, the Bitcoin price is 104,420. Ooh, block height 879,663 sats per dollar, 958 market cap 2.07 trillion. Bitcoin versus gold market cap 10.96%. Percentage issued 94.36%, decline from all-time high, negative 3.5%. Realized monetary inflation, we got 1.07%. In the grand scheme of things, we're just getting started. Anyways, I wanted to address this because this was breaking news from yesterday. It seems like there's some skeletons in the closet. Here is the Bitcoin senator from Wyoming. It says the Biden administration declared war against digital assets. Now it's our job to win. So here's the official press release. Lummis demands FDIC immediately halt destruction of Operation Chokepoint 2.0 materials. And here is the actual letter itself. This is from Senator Lummis's office to Chair Grunberg, I guess. They're the head of the FDIC. It goes on to say, I have been contacted by FDIC whistleblowers who allege that destruction of materials is occurring with respect to the digital asset activities of your agency. I have also been informed by whistleblowers that staff access to these materials is being closely monitored by management to prevent them from being supplied to the Senate before they can be destroyed, and that certain staff have been threatened with legal action to prevent them from speaking out. This is illegal and unacceptable. You are directed to ensure your staff cease and desist destruction of all materials and end all retaliatory actions immediately. You are further directed to preserve all existing materials, including documents, communications, electronic information, and metadata relating to the FDIC's digital asset activities since January 1st, 2022. That may be responsive to the Senate Banking Committee's oversight prerogatives in the coming months. Now, here is Nick Carter. Nick Carter was originally the one who wrote the paper covering Operation Chokepoint 2.0. Here is some of his commentary regarding this breaking news. So Senator Lummis says she has been contacted by FDIC whistleblowers regarding Operation Chokepoint 2.0, demands preservation of all materials, including those relating to Silvergate and Signature Bank shutdowns. A lot of people were theorizing that those banks weren't necessarily going to go out of business. In fact, the Biden administration did some things in the back end that made them go out of business because they were so friendly and did business with the Bitcoin industry. He goes on to say, threatens criminal referrals if destruction of records is unearthed. Gloves are off. Interesting. Also, that she also says refusals to share materials, confidential supervisory information doctrine are immaterial. FDIC staff must be in absolute shambles at the moment. Almost shed a tear reading this, to be honest with you. Justice is coming. We fought 2 years now for the truth, and we're finally going to get it. I mean, like, this is crazy. It's a little bit of a vindication, Opti, is it not? I mean, we've been covering this news for quite a while. We went from thinking like, oh, they're just not educated on the matter, they just don't know any better, to like, this seems like they're attacking our industry on purpose. The proposed 30% Bitcoin, the proposed 30% tax on Bitcoin miners, the attack on self-custody, the arrest of many leading exchange entrepreneurs. I know a lot of them are part of shitcoin casinos and not like CZ and Arthur Hayes. But again, when banks do the same thing they accuse CZ and Arthur Hayes of, they get fines. When people from our industry do it, they go to prison. So there's a little bit of a double standard there. Of course, Elizabeth Warren using the attacks in Israel to like propagate this narrative using the Wall Street Journal, basically saying that Bitcoin was being used to launder money for terrorists. Now, we did the research regarding that claim. And the truth is that the vast majority of illicit finance is done within the traditional financial system. So I don't think it's about money laundering. I don't think it's about, preventing crime as they claim. I think it has to do with the fact that they want a central bank digital currency and they don't want competition for a central bank digital currency. So they're trying to create a monopoly. They're trying to create a place where people had to use a CBDC because that was the only thing that was available to them. So I'm really glad of the election results. Obviously, I think it's going to be really bullish for the price, really bullish from a regulatory perspective. But I think we're going to find out about how bad Operation Chokepoint 2.0 was and what the government was doing in the background that we weren't aware of, because supposedly the government's supposed to be transparent when it comes to policy. Why are they destroying documents? Why are they destroying documents if they have nothing to hide? If they feel they didn't break the law and they're following the regulations, why do they want to destroy communications? What's going on back there, right? I think that if those documents, come to light, I think we're going to see a lot of things there that they did that confirm without a shadow of a doubt they did not want the Bitcoin industry to succeed in the US, because me and Opti went for 9 months to the point that I got upset with Opti because Opti said, Nico, they have Trump derangement syndrome. I'm like, no, dude, we have to stay neutral, to the point that when they arrested the Samurai Wallet developers for writing code, that's the day that I lost it. I said, you know what? Gloves are off. We have to get behind RFK. We have to get Trump, because our industry potentially is in danger from a regulatory perspective in the United States. Anyways, Gary, what are your thoughts on this? We'll pass it on to James and then Opti.
Well, number one is I don't understand how government officials who are working for us think it's proper to hide information for us. I don't understand why the JFK files are still private. I don't understand why a lot of things are private and we don't have access to. Sure, I can see why we wouldn't be given the names of spies and stuff like that, but banking industry information, this should all be open to us. They should not be keeping secrets from us. We hire them basically to go in and represent us and do things for us. And then they go do things and then they don't tell us what they're doing. And then they, in this case, destroy things because they never want us to know what they're doing. I'm confused on that. Why do they get into working for us, the people, if they don't believe in we, the people?
100%. I think that's spot on. And I agree with you, Gary. I think, and I don't think it could ever be a government of we the people as long as the government has the ability to print money. I think as long as the government has the ability to print money, it's a government by the government for the government. They're not really incentivized to do good by the people. So I think that assessment, Gary, was absolutely spot on. Why we are paying their salaries. These are government employees. They're supposed to be working for us. Why are they destroying the evidence? Like, what's going on there? James, what's your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, it boils down to rules for thee, not for me, right? Like I'm used to this sort of thing. Like when I see something like that, concealment of the evidence for, Operation Chokepoint 2.0, it's just par for the course. I expect that to be hidden. And then I expect them to say potentially something like, we're doing this for national security. This could be perceived the wrong way, but really the right way, right? Like if you're hiding something and there's blaring evidence, obviously that looks, terrible. And it's just exciting to see that we're going on the polar opposite of that now. And like, as you say, elections have consequences where all this stuff will come to light and be out there. And we're moving towards SBR and a crypto or Bitcoin friendly, I guess, government, you could say. So, it's I guess the darkness is coming to light, right? Everything is going to come to light, and it'll be interesting to see the reasons why these things were hidden or what really went down with Chokepoint 2.0, because it's not like a confirmed operation, right? It's not really confirmed. It's kind of like a shadow operation, and it'll be nice to see it come to light with pure evidence. 100%.
I'm again, like, it's not going to be surprising what what we find, because it became so apparent that obviously, they were taking a political stance with all their policies, all the things that were being done by the DOJ, the arrests of people, again, the menacing the information or press releases that were coming out of the FBI, the demonization of self-custody, the invention of terms like unhosted wallet, right? I hope that this is all coming to an end very, very soon. Opti, what's your take on this, man? I mean, what are we going to find in these documents if they come to light, if they're not all destroyed by the time Trump gets sworn in?
Well, considering where the trend is going, we won't learn anything new because the documents are going to be destroyed. So, no.
Supposedly.
Allegedly.
No,
I'm kind of trolling, but half serious. My take on this is essentially, remember where we can actually, I want to piggyback off what James said. We're seeing that everything comes to the light. We're starting to see, hopefully for a lot of people out there, I think Bitcoiners, we've kind of already known this for a long time, just how corrupt the system actually is. But hopefully we're starting to turn the page here and more people are starting to wake up to how corrupt the system actually is. And maybe, obviously Operation Chokepoint 2.0 in itself is not going to be that watershed moment, that defining moment here, but I think we are starting to see more and more evidence and more data points to prove just how corrupt things are, and hopefully in the short term people start to wake up just how bad the system really is. And I say all that to essentially say, remember where we started with the Chokepoint 2.0 story in 2024. It came out, or rather they were saying publicly, the narrative was, oh, we are not doing this is not the case, we're not fighting the Bitcoin industry, we're for technological advancement, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then slowly but surely, the data kept coming out. There was more debanking. There was more evidence to prove the opposite. And by the end of the year, it came out that Operation Chokepoint 2.0 was in fact a real thing. And now we're getting to the point that, 2-3 days, a couple of days before Trump is about to assume office, they're destroying communications in regards to Operation Chokepoint 2.0. I don't know. As a Bitcoiner, it is just, it's not something new. I wouldn't say it's the straw that breaks the camel's back, but it's just more of the same. And am I surprised? Not at all. It really is a slap in the face to the American population and everyone out there. And if they are awake and they are paying attention, more and more of this data coming out of just how corrupt the system is, how untransparent the system is. This is the stuff that should be radicalizing people. It's like the meme, who radicalized you? And it's like, you did, with all of this crazy stuff you guys are doing. So it started that Operation Chokepoint 2.0 wasn't a thing. It turned out that it was, and now they're destroying the communications around Operation Chokepoint 2.0. Where there's smoke, there's fire, and this is not a good look for anyone involved in Operation Chokepoint 2.0 or anyone in these institutions. This is absolutely corrupt politicians, corrupt institutions, and it just goes to show that the people in power are absolutely terrified of Bitcoin being proliferated amongst the masses. Of you adopting Bitcoin, of you trying to protect your purchasing power, it absolutely terrifies the people close to the money printer. And that's all the signal I need to just continue to go down this route and continue to stack Bitcoin and continue to talk about Bitcoin, because whatever scares the people in power right now, you do more of that as far as I'm concerned. So continue to stack Bitcoin, continue to talk about Bitcoin, continue to expose the system. And as James was saying, Bitcoin has a way of exposing the truth. And here we are. It's another example of this. And so, man, it's obviously it feels good. It's a good little dopamine rush. It's like, yeah, we were right. Remember, Nico, we were right. We were right. This is vindication early in 2025.
Absolutely, 100%, man. It's I'm excited to see these documents. And again, like you said, you used the word "who radicalized you." I mean, like, is it really like I like to tie in what Gary was saying earlier? Is it really radical for you to ask? Like, again, the government is supposed to work for you, right? I would say that these actions by alleged actions, right? If the destruction of documents is taking place, I would say those actions are radical. I think what we're asking for is like normal government. I think this is this is the way that things are supposed to be done. So I wouldn't say we're radicalized. I would say what they were doing was radical. And why else would you want to destroy documents, allegedly, right? So anyways, guys, we're going to hit the news. So we'll be right back. We're going to talk about how to protect your Bitcoin seed words. There was a tragic fire that happened in California, 10,000 homes burnt to the ground. Again, like we tell you guys all the time, paper is not a good idea to write down your generational wealth. You want to do it properly. And I think Stamp Seed definitely allows you to do that. And then during the culture segment, we're going to be talking about BitBlockBoom. It's going to be one of the best Bitcoin conferences of the year. It's my personal favorite. Holds a very special place in my heart. That's where me and Opti met in person for the first time. And we're going to talk about BitBlockBoom today during the culture. So guys, stay tuned. We will be right back.
I want to give a very special shout out to our sponsor, Compass Mining. They make Bitcoin mining accessible to everyone, from beginners to experienced investors. Their turnkey miners gets you online and hashing within 48 hours, making it easier than ever to start your mining journey. Plus, with their active marketplace, you can resell your miner at any time, adding flexibility and value to your investment. Visit their website to access a wealth of resources, learning everything you need to know about Bitcoin mining. Take your first step into the world of Bitcoin mining with confidence. Discover more at compassmining.io. Again, compassmining.io, and see how Compass Mining can power your success. I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Foundation. It's self-custody done right. They built a premium grade hardware wallet called Passport right here in the US, and it integrates seamlessly with their free app called Envoy. Passport is fully open source and verifiable. It's the most intuitive Bitcoin wallet designed with a UX reminiscent of a classic feature phone, so you'll know how to navigate it and use it the moment you pick it up. It's also air-gapped, meaning Bitcoin stays offline, never touching an internet connection. It's Bitcoin only, open source verifiable, air-gap security model, gorgeous design craft, premium grade materials. Get your Bitcoin off exchanges and into your own hands in just a few minutes with Passport at foundation.xyz/simply. Get peace of mind.
All right, everybody, this is Opti, and Opti is not holding a phone. He's holding a Passport by Foundation Devices. Not your keys, not your cheese. You want to take self-custody. If you use promo code SIMPLY, it won't get you Opti, but it will get you a discount to the Passport by Foundation Devices. Guys, take self-custody of your Bitcoin. If not, someone else is taking custody of your Bitcoin, but it's not your Bitcoin if someone else is taking custody of it. Anyways, so I do want to talk about this. Absolutely tragic what is happening. Here's our boy Anders, fellow Bitcoiner, very well known in the Bitcoin community, and unfortunately, he was one of the victims of this tragic fire that happened. Wow, Gary, you're right. It seems like the washing machines and the chimney are the thing. That's crazy. But yeah, this is horrible. What happened in California, and I called Anders and I said, dude, like, I hope you're okay. He's fine. Apparently it wasn't his house. It was a rental property, and all his Bitcoin is okay as well. So, and of course, he's fine. He's safe. And, yeah, this is, and I can't imagine all the people too, like it's 10,000 homes, I believe, were burnt down. That were potentially Bitcoiners, right? So here's some of the latest information. Largest LA wildfires have not grown in 5 days, so it seems like they're contained. Here's some more pictures. All these houses on the beach, again, just completely kind of burnt to the ground. Yeah, absolute tragedy. Horrible what happened. Again, it happened in a very, very populated area in Los Angeles, and some of these are not fully contained yet. So some of these are still ongoing, happened in multiple places. So yeah, I mean, absolute tragedy what happened, man. And it sucks, but I do want to, I do want to talk about this because, again, if you take self-custody, you have your Bitcoin in your home. If you usually buy a hardware wallet, they come with paper, and you write down your 12 or 24 words on that piece of paper. Problem is, paper is not only prone to water damage, it's also prone to fire damage, which is exactly why here at Simply we recommend Stamp Seed. They're awesome. The Stamp Seed is titanium, and we're doing the quick maths before the show. Wildfires apparently burn between 1400 Fahrenheit to 2100 or 2200 Fahrenheit in Celsius. For our European audience, is 800 Celsius to 1200 Celsius. The melting point of titanium is 3000 degrees Fahrenheit. So obviously there's almost 1,000-degree buffer there. So you know that your seed words are going to be okay. Now, I don't recommend picking up the Stamp Seed after it's been put in that fire. Don't recommend that, but at least you can be sure that it could survive these types of tragedies. And this is something that you have to think about, because self-custody, you have to change your mindset. You have to change the way you look at the storage of your wealth, because you're the one responsible. There isn't a 1-800 number to call and say, hey, look, this is what's happening. You have total responsibility of your wealth, which comes with a ton of benefits, but it also requires a ton of responsibility. So James, I mean, we were talking about this earlier on in the week. We got multiple questions and comments throughout the week regarding this. Some people were saying, how would I have found the seed? Let's say I did have a Stamp Seed, and for whatever reason, God forbid, my house burnt down. How could I have found the stamps? How could I have found the seed? So what are some of these potential precautions that people could take to protect themselves from natural disasters? James, the floor is yours.
Yeah, sure. So first off, start out, heart goes out to everyone affected by these fires. I can't imagine what that situation could be like. And it hits a little more closer to home when it happens to people of in the industry. You see what they're going through, like following Anders along with that whole, wild ride. It's pretty crazy. But obviously, you don't want to make things worse for yourself. And everything that you mentioned is important, right? Like having your Bitcoin on a seed plate that's fireproof is extremely important for regular old house fires. That could happen. It's more common than a wildfire, and obviously wildfires too. But specifically to the wildfire, it brought some things to light for me, where it's like, okay, a lot of these people weren't able to get back to their house, or if they were able to get back to their house, they're looking at a pile of rubble. So in these situations, it's a unique opportunity where we can look at it and be like, okay, how would I be able to find my Bitcoin in that situation? And I think there's a few best practices that you could do to ensure that that's possible. One, it's funny, we look at that picture, washer machines, chimneys, things that are lasting. You can look at what's standing still, what's available, and maybe there's a way to hide your seed plate in something like that. Another good option would be to bury it underground, right? If you find a specific landmark in your backyard, maybe it's a tree, maybe it's 10 feet, 20 feet off of where your pool is, you could simply bury it underground just the way it is, and it's not going to corrode or be affected by moisture or anything like that. And one thing I heard of, we actually worked with a professional treasure hunter metal detector to give us some best practice for hiding the plate. One thing he recommended was to bury, dig a hole, put your seed plate in the ground, and then fill it with 4 inches of dirt. Let's say you dig 2 feet, fill it with 4 inches of dirt, and then just start layering like cans, nails, other pieces of metal in there. So one, you could identify where it is. It might be hard to find that landmark after a destructive fire. Two, if anyone else decides to do the same thing, like an adversary, right? They're trying to look for your plate. They might become discouraged as they keep digging, and they're just coming up with coffee cans and random pieces of junk metal, stuff that they aren't looking for. So those are some ways you could keep it in. That's for like a single sig situation, right? You have your single sig, all your eggs are in one basket. You have to make sure you can get it when you get back to that house. You might have to wait it out a long time to be able to get back to your house. I know a lot of people in Maui are still not able to get to their homes after those fires. So there's some other options out there that we obviously provide, and there's other people out there that do so too. You could obviously do multi-sig. If you are geographically separating your plates in different areas, you are not prone to having them all burnt up or inaccessible due to a fire. So you could do multi-sig. some sort of 3 to 5 setup. You could also do something we offer. It's the 2 or 3 sharding. It's poor man's multisig, where you're essentially parsing. It works for 24 words. You're parsing your 24 words across 3 plates, and there's a little bit of crossover with those words. So if one plate was inaccessible, due to a house fire, you have 2 other plates that are in other geographic areas where you can actually have all your seed words on those plates. If someone were to find them, they wouldn't have all your words on that either. And obviously, not recommended as the only option, but memorizing your seed words. Have your metal backup, make sure your seed words are on there, but it doesn't hurt to memorize it, right? Practice that. You don't want that to be your only backup, but say, you're in LA and you can't get to your home. If you have those words at the very least memorized, you can transfer it over to another wallet, or change your seed words altogether, move it to another wallet. Or at least you just have them. You don't have to do anything with them. You have them. Record them again quick before you forget them. Obviously not the best practice if you're only doing that. You don't want to just memorize. And, that being said, I brought up a thing. You obviously don't want to store it on your phone, electronic device, or anything like that. You don't want to take a picture of it, store it on your phone. You want that completely offline in a solid state on a solid plate there. So those are just some things like I picked up on when, being like, okay, if I was in this situation, how am I even getting my plate? And I feel like those things would make me even more comfortable, help me sleep at night, and be prepared for the worst. But at the end of the day, a common house fire is much more likely to occur than, a wildfire or whatever it may have been. So, protect yourself in those situations. Make sure you know where your plate is. Make sure, you memorize your seed words as a second backup. And, if anyone has any questions, I think I saw a couple come up in the chat. One was related to not being able to get to the house. What do you do? I feel like I might have touched upon that. Someone brought up the do weapons. I don't know if that's a thing, but
don't say that on YouTube. Don't say that on YouTube.
Oh yeah. Just put it in a blue garbage can. It'll be perfectly rentable. But no, yeah, I was talking about my favorite drink there, YouTube. Love that.
Someone said about metal detectors and titanium.
Right. It's apparently it's not as likely to be picked up as compared to steel, especially if you start digging deeper. Like, metal detectors aren't created equal. Like, I've seen some really high level ones. I bought one on Amazon when I was looking for my wife's earring in the backyard. There's different levels to it, and they are not.
Did you find it?
Used at all. No, definitely not. She had to make a necklace out of the one earring that was left, and so it's a long story. But I tried. That's all that mattered. But yeah, with titanium, it's not as likely to be picked up as steel. And then another tip that this treasure hunter guy gave to us is when you're burying the plate, like I got one. You don't want to bury it in the ground like this, more surface area. You want to bury it straight down. So the surface area is just 2 millimeters. It's less likely to be picked up on the metal detector in that situation. But remember, you're going to be looking for it. So you don't want to make your job that much harder. That's why I really like layering different pieces of metal above it to discourage people along the way and thinking they caught nothing. And if it's not being picked up on the metal detector, if you're storing the plate in the ground the right way, they're not going to continue to look anyway. You know that it's there, though, because you have your debris that you stacked in that pile above it, right? So yeah.
Amazing. Well, this is again, guys, this is a tragedy that's happened in LA. But a lot of the products that we recommend and events, again, they're going to help you become a sovereign individual, right? And with Bitcoin comes self-custody. Bitcoin comes with a tremendous amount of responsibility. You have to get the right hardware, the right seed word storage, and obviously, check out Stamp Seed. It's titanium, and it will help you. God forbid this happens to you, but again, no one expects that these things are going to happen to you, but at least you're prepared, right? Gary, let me ask you something. You've been in the industry for quite a long time. Do you have any thoughts on this? Any pieces of advice that you would give to somebody that perhaps is entering in, they're new, on how to properly secure their Bitcoin?
Well, first I want to say that's a real good tip there that you gave. Those tips on putting it sideways, layering stuff above it. Those are really great tips there. And my heart goes out to everybody in LA who lost basically everything. Anders is a good friend of mine. Anders and Pubby and I shared an Airbnb for 3 days in Naples. And you get to know someone pretty good when you live with him for 3 days. And he's a pretty good guy. The thing I don't understand, though, about Anders is so many people have lost their Bitcoin in boating accidents And Anders had the better than a boating accident to say, and no one would ever know any different. And he didn't take advantage of that.
Yeah, what a drop ball by Anders.
He just blew it.
Oh man!
So, but I hate to make a joke out of that. I know it's not a good time, but really, he really did blow that. So, but my advice is to do exactly those tips we just heard. Those were just great tips. The layering, the sideways, things I've never thought about that I will share from now on with people. So, but you know, you've really, you know, people understand. I think they do, but they don't really understand that when you are into Bitcoin and you own Bitcoin, you are your own bank. You are your own bank. You don't have anyone to call to save the day for you. Being your own bank is a great power. It really is. And like, you can quote either Uncle Ben, or Voltaire. I don't care which one you say, but with great power comes great responsibility. And you have to find out how to take advantage of the responsibility and protect yourself, because you have no one to call with this great power. So just BYOB is a power.
Absolutely. I think that was very, very wise words from Gary. And I think that's something that there's a bit of a disconnect for most people, and they forget, right? There is no one to call. When you take self-custody, you are the backup. Like, you are the person who has complete control over your funds. And that comes with a tremendous amount of pros. But the cons is there is no one to call. But if you properly secure your seed words using multi-sig, using the stamp seed, using Bitcoin only hardware wallet to recommend the Passport by Foundation devices. Again, you can have contingencies, you can have backups, right? And the multi-sig rabbit hole, the self-custody rabbit hole in Bitcoin is so deep. And I think that once you get used to it, once you feel very confident with it, I would even go out on a limb and I would say that if you do it right, you're going to sleep more soundly than as if you had your money in a bank. Opti, what's your opinion on this? What's your take on this? Absolute tragedy what's happening in Los Angeles, but I think it's a cautious reminder for people to really take their self-custody setups seriously, because they can never know what's going to happen. I mean, look, I live in Florida. There's no, it's so humid that there's not really a lot of wildfires, but this is like Hurricane Alley, right? Like, flooding is like the norm here. We're just so used to it. You got to protect yourself. You got to protect your seed words. You got to protect your generational wealth. Opti, what's your take?
Yeah, well, first off, I do have some family in California, but no one was actually affected by these fires. And so I did reach out to them and was wondering, is everything good? So, of course, my heart goes out to everyone that was affected by these fires. And again, I've been saying this a while in regards to your self-custody setup, but I guess now is time to kind of think about it in terms of your backups, is that you never know exactly what's going to happen, and not to overcomplicate your setups, obviously, but you should be looking to all these different factors and obviously multiplying your holdings by 10 or 100 or however high you think Bitcoin's going. And that's how you should be backing up your seed phrases and your cold storage setups. These are these important reminders to remember that life is chaotic at times and there's things outside of your control. And what you want to do is try to protect yourself as much as possible. So that's kind of my PSA. But I did see one more question here. And James, I don't want to put you on the spot, but the chat is asking, when 12-word seed plate?
Yeah, it's been a long time coming for that thing. We've been showing it off at all the conferences we've been to. It'll be here, I'm hoping, by the end of Q1. Definitely this year, early this year. It's coming. Like, I have samples, I have prototypes. I've been playing around with it. It looks awesome. Smaller form factor. We'll work with the existing jig that you have. So you don't have to, we're not like rugging you to buy another kit. You just buy the plate and upgrade. And moving forward, all kits will be coming, you 12 or 24-word option. So that's soon. And I saw I think a couple questions in the chat. I think someone's asking about the sharding, splitting up your seed across a couple plates, not multi-sig, but poor man's multi-sig. So that's 2 or 3 sharding, only works with 24-word. I would not recommend doing that with 12. It's too easy to brute force. We sell that option on our website. You basically have 3 sets of numbers. It's like 1 through 18, 10 through 24, and then 1 through 8, and then 17 through 24 is the third plate. so that you would only need two plates would have all your words. One plate doesn't have all your words, and you can't brute force it if somebody found that one plate, or if that one plate was buried in the wildfire, lost, inaccessible. You have two other plates that are floating around somewhere geographically in the world where you can combine those and have all your words. So that's poor man's multi-sig. I think that's, if you're going to take a single sig option, to me, that's like best practice, in addition to having a passphrase, of course. But with the passphrase, you got to remember those seed words regardless. So yeah, sharding. Sharding, someone said. Sharding. What did you guys? What did you get me on that every time?
Absolutely. Guys, head over to stampseed.com today. Get your titanium seed phrase storage kit. Promo code simply to get 15% off. Also want to give a shout out to the massive audience. Almost broke. I know. I think we have. Yeah. On the verge of breaking 3,000 live viewers, 600 live viewers on YouTube alone. We hit our goal of breaking 300 likes. Help us break 350 likes by the time the show is over. Guys, stay tuned for the culture. We are going to talk to the one, the only Gary Leland about the incoming BitBlockBoom conference in Dallas, Texas. It's going to be an amazing time. There's nothing like Texas barbecue. That's what I got to say. All right, everybody. We will be right back for the culture. What?
I said facts. Texas barbecue is the best.
I don't know. The Cuban food in Miami is pretty good, but the Texas barbecue
is not Texas barbecue.
The Texas barbecue that Gary puts together is it's chef's kiss. All right, everybody. We'll be right back.
I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, HIVE Digital Technologies. As the first ever public miner, HIVE's been battle tested through every possible market. And as the first with an AI strategy, HIVE continues to redefine the future of sustainable energy. Also, got to casually drop this in here. HIVE consistently tops the industry in Bitcoin mined per exahash. They're lean and mean, they're green and clean, and they're changing the game. Learn more by following them at HIVE Digital Tech or check out their website, hivedigitaltech.com.
All right, everybody. I do want to give a shout out to our sponsor, BitBlockBoom. Guys, it's coming April 3rd through the 6th of 2025. It's going to be one of the best Bitcoin conferences of the year. The entire Simply Bitcoin crew will be there. Nico, Opti, Dante, Rustin, Jacob. It's going to be an amazing time. You definitely don't want to miss this Bitcoin celebration. There's Texas barbecue. There's the axe throwing contest. There's the casino night. It's not like real casino. It's like this like celebration thing. It's awesome. I can't really describe it. Yeah, it's going to be great. There's the brunches, there's the lunches, there's the dinners. I've said this many times. If you're trying to get a job in the industry, the days of just sending over your resumes are long gone. They're over. One of the best ways to go to the conferences and speak to some of your favorite Bitcoin conferences so they get to see your face, they get to know you. That's the most effective ways of getting a job in the industry. And perhaps, again, like you want to meet some of your favorite Bitcoiners, the BitBlockBoom conference is perfect because there is no backstage. Everyone's just sitting in the crowd, whether it's Jimmy Sai. It's an amazing time, guys. You definitely don't want to miss it. And you want to get your tickets quickly because the prices do increase as time goes by. But I have a good news for you guys. If you use promo code BB21, you get $100 off your tickets. Again, if you use BB21, you get $100 off your tickets to BitBlockBoom. Scan the QR code on your screen right now or check the link in the video description. Anyways, I do want to open up the conversation. We have the man, the myth, the legend, Gary Leland in the house. Gary, technically, this is the longest running Bitcoin conference. Is that correct?
Yeah, this will be our 8th year. So yeah, we're trucking along now. By default, we made it when no one else did one in 2020 because of COVID, and we did. So by default, we became the longest running. There were some before us, but those aren't running anymore, and neither did they run during 2020. So yeah, this is the longest running.
the longest running Bitcoin conference. And one of the things that I know that you do, Gary, which is you change the locations. It's all in Texas, but you change the location. I believe the last one was in Austin. This one that is coming up is going to be in Dallas. So
actually, McKinney, Texas, right outside of Dallas.
Oh, okay. So Opti's not going to get a complete, Opti's still going to have to drive somewhat.
I have to drive anyways, but it's close. It's close.
It's not far from you, Opti, so don't give us all that static.
You have to drive 20 minutes everywhere in Dallas anyways. So, that's what I'm saying.
So Gary,
it's going to be a great conference this year. We have a great hotel, one of our best hotels ever. Outside the door is like a lake with a boardwalk with all kind of shops. The facility we have is just a great facility. We had James Lavish contacted me the other day and said, hey, I was thinking I couldn't come. I want to come. Stefan Livera contacted me. He's coming now. We have a surprise guest, hopefully we're working on, that's going to be epic. And I mean, epic if this happens.
I think I know who you're talking about.
And this year is going to be great. We're doing the best workshop day. Oh, you're going to like this, Nico. You have all day Thursday to set up.
Oh, I love it.
The entire day. You've always been in there and go, we got 3 hours. Get this going. You got the entire day. But Friday, we have lightning workshops all day. We have what is mining workshops all day. And we have what is Bitcoin workshops all day for beginners on Friday. Saturday is the regular deal. We have vendors. We have parties. We have James. I need you to send me some of your products for prizes in the casino night. I'm going to hit you up on that while I'm
Let's
here.
do definitely.
But,
great idea. I love it.
We have it could be our best event yet. And we've had some good ones.
Incredible. And could you talk a little bit about the venue, Gary? Because I know that I've seen the pictures. The hotel is going to be absolutely incredible. There's like restaurants. There's like a little lake. Also, could you talk a little bit about the venue?
Outside and a walking trail. That's why I said our best. I do want to mention on that though. Go to the website now if you're going and get your rooms. Use the link to get your rooms because we're going to run out of rooms. We've already had to add more rooms to our block a couple of times, and I usually find out because someone messages me and goes, I can't get a room. Are y'all out? And I try to get more, but it's getting to the point we probably won't be able to get more added anymore because they only give us because they want to sell some at retail. So if you're going, if you bought your ticket, if you haven't bought your ticket but you think you're going, book your room and get that out of the way. But this is a great hotel. Last year we went with the same hotel we had before because it was just easy on me, but we moved up to a different hotel that's a step up above for us. And the pricing is great. So, one thing about the hotel I do want to say while you're bringing it up, Nico, a lot of people, when they go to conferences, want to stay at Airbnbs, because they're cheaper, but our hotel is inexpensive enough. And the fact that the conference is in the hotel, you want to stay there because stuff is happening all night long, not official BitBlockBoom stuff, but like parties, people hanging out, talking, maybe there's a poker game, who knows what's going on, but there's stuff going on all night long. So BitBlockBoom is not the place to get an Airbnb at. I have nothing wrong with Airbnbs. I'm just saying, you don't want to be driving back and forth. You want to be able to just go upstairs, change clothes, brush your teeth, whatever, and come back down at 2:00 in the morning and start Bitcoining again.
Oh yeah. And it reminds me of, again, the staying at the hotel is really cool because there's the famous LobbyCom that was born at BitBlockBoom, right? Could you talk a little bit about you guys have to stay at the hotel. It's like part of the experience. I completely agree with Gary and Opti. I mean, what are you excited about this year, dude? You don't have to drive, you don't have to get on a flight, the first also too. One of the things that I haven't talked about yet, the first Simply Bitcoin conference coverage happened at BitBlockBoom. That was the first time we've ever done that. I managed to convince Gary. I had an idea in my head, and I'm like, I think we could pull this off. And that was the first time that Simply Bitcoin, covered a conference. Now we do it for so many conferences, but that was the first time. And this year we're going to do it even better. So many different camera angles that we've been working on, including the Simply Bitcoin news desk. It's going to be incredible. Very, very excited for it. Opti.
Yeah, well, I think you said what I'm most excited about. It's not having to travel to go to the conference. That's the best part. No, I'm kind of trolling. What I'm most excited about, and I was telling Gary this before the show. BitBlockBoom for me personally is like a family reunion. That's where in 2020 I met Nico. I met a lot of friends there that I consider family. And so the most exciting part for me is just going to BitBlockBoom and knowing that I'm going to basically see like my Bitcoin family. And that's really what it feels like. It's like a family reunion, and you hang out with all the people that I've known for years now. So, you know, at this point, it's like this is the one that I know all of my friends that I love are going to be there. And that's why I'm most excited. It's basically like, you know, I don't get to see all my Bitcoin friends multiple times a year. I basically only catch them once or maybe twice a year. And I know for a fact it will always be at BitBlockBoom. So shouts out to Gary.
Hey, Nico, I do want to also mention, because this is real important to me, and I think it's really important to the people who come. You know, when you go to a big conference like Bitcoin Magazine conference, which is a great conference, so I'm not saying this in a negative manner. There are so many people at that conference that when someone comes out you wanted to see speak, they come out from the back and then they leave out the back. And you may never get a chance to actually talk to that person one-on-one. Where at BitBlockBoom, that person may be sitting in the audience and they just come out of the audience, go speak, and then they come back in the audience and they're hanging out in the hallway. So these people that are speaking, if there's someone you like their show or you wanted to network with or you just want to meet, you're going to have so many opportunities to meet him because it's a smaller conference. You know, we're not going for mass volume. We're going for building the best conference there is, experience there is, getting a chance to meet these people. I have people every year go, gosh, I was at that second one and Saifedean Moose was standing by the bar and I just went over to stand by him and listen to him. And he turned around and stuck his hand out and he goes, hi, I'm Saif. Who are you? So people love coming to this conference because they get to hang out and meet people they see every day or they've read their books. So that's something that really makes us stand out, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things too that you do, Gary, which is you break down the event. So people could buy specific tickets for specific events they want to go to. So for example, if you're only interested in going to the Friday workshops, the conference sessions on Saturday, and the Saturday night casino party, you get the GA ticket. If you're looking to go to a lot of the lunches and the dinners, you can get the Pro Pass. And let's say you just want to go to specific things. So let's say you want to go to one dinner specifically, or the one party specifically, or you want to go to one brunch specifically, you want to go to the BitBlock shoot specifically, or the casino night. Those are all things that you can buy individually. I got to warn you though, guys, like these things, as we get closer to the conference, they tend to sell out. So you want to get your ticket. Go ahead.
You'd be surprised how many people buy tickets to like the Friday night dinner, and that's all they bought a ticket to. And then they go hang out in the lobby at the hotel to meet everybody who's there and network them in the lobby. So, and that's why we broke them down that way. If you don't want, if you're going, that's a lot of money, I can't afford to go to the conference. Well, you still can come to the hotel and hang out. We aren't going to kick you out and meet the people because we overflow into the lobby. And then a lot of people, like I said, they buy a ticket for Friday night or Thursday, Friday night, and they just go hang out. I know they're not coming in town just for Thursday and Friday night. I know they're hanging out in the lobby too. So that's why now my crew hates having so many ticket options at check-in, but I don't want to make people pay for everything if they don't want everything or they can't afford everything. They can kind of like a carte blanche menu.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be an incredible event. Here's some videos and pictures of the hotel. Like I said, it's absolutely beautiful. There's going to be a lot of Bitcoiners that are going to be hanging out on those chairs. Just talking.
LakeCon coming. Instead of LakeCon, LakeCon.
LakeCon.
Everybody can lose their Bitcoin and their wallet in the lake.
Yeah, there's going to be a ritual throwing of your Bitcoin into the lake. So maybe we'll have some treasure hunters in there.
Absolutely. So, Gary, could you hint on any? I know I have a feeling, and I'm not going to say it out loud, but I have a feeling of who you were hinting to in terms of the special speaker. That's great, and I kind of have an idea of how you pulled that off. But could you give?
It's not 100% yet, so I'm not going to say anything yet.
But that's awesome. But how could not that specific person, but anybody else, could you give any hints on specific speakers that are coming that you haven't made the announcement of?
No, I can't.
No. So what speakers are confirmed so far?
Everybody on the site is there. Stefan LeVar, Lavish, Bob Burnett. I can't even think of them all. We have,
Nico.
No. I'm just doing the news desk, bro. I can't.
Dude, Nico's the biggest influencer that's going to be there.
I can't do both,
a great
bro.
lineup, and they're all on the home page, or you can go to the speaker page. I can't even, on the spur of the moment, I can't even think of who they all are. Pierre Rochard, Bitstein. This will be the first, I think, conference appearance Bitstein's made in quite a while. In 2019, he rocked the world with his memeing session he did. So we've got a great lineup.
Yeah, it's gonna be absolutely phenomenal, guys. James, are you coming this year?
He's having a baby.
He's muted. You're muted, James.
You guys are laying the FOMO on thick, man. I wish I could be going, but the wife and I are expecting our first, so I got to be here for that.
Congrats.
It's like we're right around the same time, but I have serious FOMO from it. Hopefully, I can do it next year. I will say, for anyone who hasn't got to a conference, just go. You do not know who you're going to meet, where that could lead. So many good things could happen. I met Isaac Wine at a conference, right? And that's how I know you guys, right? That's how we're here today. I feel you had just said, Opti, you met Nico there, or Nico found you there, however you want to look at it. And you're on Simply now, right? The iteration of Simply is amazing.
Found me behind the trash can.
Yeah, you were there doing something, right? So it's just amazing. You don't know who you're going to meet, the connections you're going to make. And it's you're another part of the world, right? It's just you're learning more. And some of the best things happen during the, like Gary was saying, in the lobby, outside when you're taking a break from the sessions. Some of the best parts of the conferences happen just for meeting and talking to people that are like-minded. So if you haven't gone to one, I highly recommend it. And BitBlock seems like a great one to do. It's in where'd you say it's in? Close to Austin?
In Dallas. It's in
Dallas. Okay, it was in Austin previously, right?
Yes. It's a
absolutely. Absolutely, guys. Scan the QR code on the right hand of your screen. If you're watching the audio podcast, go to BitBlockBoom.com, BitBlockBoom.com. Again, use promo code BBB21 to get $100 off of your tickets. And you want to get your tickets quickly because the prices do increase as time goes by. All right, everybody, this was Simply Bitcoin Live for January 17th, 2025. I'm your host, Nico Moran. This is my legendary co-host, Optimus Fields. Our special guest today, Gary Leland. Our special guest today, James from Stamp Seed. We love you all. Have an amazing weekend. I will be not in town on Monday. I'll be traveling the whole inauguration. We'll have some interviews lined up that you guys are going to absolutely love. But I'll be back on Tuesday. So Opti's going to be holding it down on Monday. And until then, enjoy the weekend, guys. Go outside, touch grass, like the show, subscribe to the channel if you feel like we provided you value. Love you all. We'll see you guys on the next one.
Today's episode was brought to you by BitcoinWell.com, a Bitcoin-only platform on a mission to enable financial independence.